Welcome to Birds of Prey Sports, where a weekly cover of Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, we're just going to be talking about some of the recent Ravens news that's been happening. And we're going to start off with which happened today, which kind of came out of nowhere this morning. The Ravens signing an offensive tackle, Josh Jones. And we signed him from the Cardinals, I mean the Texans, I believe. We signed him from the Texans. He was originally with the Cardinals, but they had DJ Humphries as their starting left tackle, so they didn't really need him no more. He went to the Texans, and now he's here. And obviously he's not a generational, tackle talent. He's more of like a depth piece for us. But I like the signing. We've definitely, lost some guys on the O line this off season. We lost Zeitler, which we'll get into later. We traded away Morgan Moses, so it's good to see us kind of attack that position and add somebody that can be just a plug and play piece throughout the year. So how are you feeling about the signing of Josh Jones?
Yeah, it kind of, backs up, EDC's claims of wanting to go younger. He's 27 years old, I believe. He hasn't really been in the league that long. I think he got drafted in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And so he's not been in the league very long, So like you said, a good depth piece for us, good young guy, maybe not a guy who's gonna start for us, maybe just a guy like just in case like maybe someone's struggling in the game, maybe someone gets hurt, like whoever our tackle is going to be, a right tackle is going to be. I've seen people saying they use him a lot of swing tackle. He can switch to guard as well. So you know, very I guess versatile when it comes to, his offensive line position, so he's not stuck on one thing, he can do a lot of more kind of like Makari almost, so we kind of got like two Makaris on the team right now, but Makari is good for a little bit, but once he starts, that's when the troubles happen. So, I'm serious about that, because Makari he's a decent backup, and that's just that's how it is. I remember all those times like Huntley would come into the games after Lamar, did great, and the Ravens are dominating, and Huntley would do good. Like he threw the touchdown in the Seahawks game, he threw the touchdown in the Dolphins game, but when you gave him the chance to start, he craps the bed versus the Steelers, and so. Yeah, so like I was saying, he's like the just a serviceable backup, guy who you can trust to come in for maybe a few snaps in case maybe a guy gets banged up, guy's winded, a guy just needs a little bit of a break, I guess, but I don't know if we're gonna do rotation tackles again this year to keep our guys fresh like how we did last year, but you know, uh I mean I like it, if it's a depth piece, if it's a guy who's starting, then I'm a little concerned, but I've seen he's I don't know if it's I forgot who posted it, but I want to say he was kind of penalty happy. So we don't really need that. We know how
Yeah,
the
we don't need
offense
that.
gets when there's penalties involved in this team. We're much of a team that I mean every team is like a likes to go forward and doesn't like to go backwards, but for some reason when we get penalties in a drive, we can already declare that drive to be over. So
Yeah, you're right. We don't need no more penalties. You already had that with the secret agent Alejandro Villanueva a couple seasons ago. So,
no coincidence he had the word villain in his name. Bum.
that's a good point. I can't lie. I didn't think of that. But it also begs the question, what are we going to do in the draft? Are we going to go, offensive line, offensive tackle heavy? Are we even going to get some wide receivers in there? I don't think it'll be a sexy draft or aesthetically pleasing draft as some Ravens fans might want, but that's a very important position that we need to fill, especially with Derrick Henry. So, moving on, we're actually looking at a couple wide receivers. We brought in Josh Reynolds for a look. We've also are interested and also brought in Michael Gallup. So two veteran wide receivers. They fit the Raven stereotype of bringing in guys who are kind of at the.
Washed. It's like
Uh, wash. I mean, yeah, they're washed.
Well,
I
I don't know
wouldn't
if Josh
say at
Reynolds
the
is
tail
overwatched.
end.
I haven't really looked at his stats like that. But Gallup,
He dropped a lot of passes in that NFC Championship game, so I personally wouldn't want him on the Ravens.
he
But
fits the bill.
you know, yeah, but I don't think these guys are necessarily at the tail end of their careers, but they're not really at their peak either. So just like how Josh Jones was, I guess they would be a good depth piece for the wide receiver room. But how do you feel about Gallup, and or Reynolds? Which one do you like the most, or how do you feel about it?
Um, I don't know much about Josh Reynolds' injury history, but I know Gallup had an ACL surgery, I believe, a few years ago, if not last year. I forgot which year it was, but you know, if we're gonna bring in a guy who has, knee issues, whatever, might as well just keep OBJ, So, but I don't know about Reynolds' injury history. I mean, I kind of maybe trust more Reynolds here, just because, like, think about it when we signed Aguilar. We were saying the same thing. As a guy drops a lot of passes, not clutch in these certain situations, and Aguilar was important for us last year. He may not have played the biggest role, but he was decent for us in certain spots. So maybe Reynolds can kind of fit that fit that kind of role as well. We can have two Aguilars on the team, as long as they don't have a game like how they did in Pittsburgh, But
Oh
I
yeah.
I just feel that, going into the season with Zay and Bateman is a little bit worrisome, and Aguilar. So like I wouldn't mind bringing them in, at least one of them, not both of them, just at least one of them. I prefer Reynolds, to be honest. I'm not like, oh my God, this is the best thing we could have done. Obviously I'm like, oh, let's go get a trade for Justin Jefferson. He wants to get out, trade for T Higgins or whatever. But that's probably not going to happen. I think that they're kind of set in stone with maybe, you know, what's it called, Zay and Bateman, and sticking to O line in the draft. It's not going to be like how you said, aesthetically pleasing draft, but it's going to be I wonder what they're going to do up until the draft to fill these positions of need. Because I know the Ravens really don't like to go into the draft with a position of need, wanted, I guess, So, I guess it's kind of interesting to see how we're going to work this off season, because it's a little concerning for the offensive line position. But honestly, it's going to be important for us, even if we bring in any of these guys to, if we got to spread the wealth. Me and you are always talking about this. Like we got to learn how to utilize our guys well. Suit them up for their strengths. Whatever it's going to be. So I feel like we did that in some spots last year, but then bigger spots like the AFC Championship game, we struggled. So I just really feel like, if we're gonna bring these guys in, let's use them for what they're getting paid for, and that's using for the spots that they're strongest for. And then but like I said, I prefer Josh Reynolds over Michael Gallup. Maybe Michael Gallup a few years ago before all that injury stuff, but we can't have a repeat of OBJ situation.
Yeah, and I agree. Actually, now that I think about it, Josh Reynolds, when he was with the Rams, he was actually pretty good. I mean, if we can get, somewhat of that Josh Reynolds, here, if we end up signing him, that would probably be even better version of Aguilar, which would, be great, to have. But I agree. Michael Gallup a couple years ago, he also was pretty good. I mean, he was like the contesting catch king. I mean, I would only see him catch like just incredible, just very hard to catch, passes from Dak. I remember he had like a tiptoe catch in the end zone, kind of like Santonio Holmes touchdown, Super Bowl catch. But both of these guys, it seems like their best years are kind of behind them. But I would prefer Reynolds right now too. So it'll be interesting to see, what the Ravens do. I kind of feel like if they sign one of those guys, that means probably won't get a wide receiver in the draft, or maybe we'll get one like in the fourth round or fifth round. Somebody like Benjamin Victor, who would just add to the practice squad and they'll never see the light of day on the football field, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
Duvernay and Prochet should be grateful that they even saw playing time for multiple snaps
yeah,
in
you
in
don't
a
know who
year.
Harbaugh is. He'll lie
You know
to
what?
you.
We always talk about that. We always talk about that because remember how excited he was to get. I want to say it was Duvernay.
It was Duvernay. He was like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
he's
was,
like
he
flipping
was
out. I'm like, yeah, and then you didn't use him. I mean, he wasn't fantastic, but yeah, I think he did the same thing for Prochet too. I don't remember
I
correctly, but
it looked like he was about to flip his desk over in his house. Like that's how excited he was. I
I
was like,
know it. Like he looked like he just won the Super Bowl. Like
oh
like
yeah,
what are you doing,
Harbs. I hope
dog?
you're
Like
watching this. You gotta step it up. I was just playing, but
gonna call us and be like, "Hey guys, shut up!" Like,
well, that's only if he sticks to the plan. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But you know, obviously, whoever wide receiver we choose, whether it's Gallup or Reynolds or in the draft, we hope that he can be productive because we're gonna need that. I don't think OBJ wants to come back. I heard he wants to go to the Chiefs. He's him and the Dolphins seem close right now on making a deal together. So we're just gonna need somebody who's gonna, be that, that 1B or maybe that 2A guy. So, hopefully we can get that. But moving on, we'll talk about some unfortunate departures. Kevin Zeitler went to the Lions on a 1 year, $6 million deal. which is surprising because I'm pretty sure we could have gave that to him. You know, we restructured a lot of guys' contracts, and it just seemed like we just let him walk. And I remember you mentioned, when we talked, I think it was yesterday, maybe a couple of days ago, maybe the Ravens just want to go younger, at the O
Yeah,
line, and I could
yeah,
definitely see that. But Zeitler was great this season, and I even remember him saying after the AFC Championship game he wanted to come back. Like he was one of the first guys I saw that was like emphatic about getting the deal done as fast as possible. And now he's gone, and he's going to strengthen up that Lions O line. So what are your thoughts about that?
yeah. I'm not surprised about the move, to be honest. I really did want him to come back personally, but they really seem to want to just young. How do I say, like, youth movement for the offensive line, and I don't know how much of a good idea that is exactly, because now we're talking about possibly three of the five offensive linemen being young guys. So I'm not exactly thrilled about that. Exactly, just because what if all three of them suck? Like, and now we're it's not like it's a veteran guy who can maybe hold his own. He's not that great, but he can hold his own for some plays. But they might get three young guys that just completely get blown by, like, just thrown to the side and curb stomped or whatever. Like, it's just like I don't know if I'm interested in that. So I personally would like a veteran like Zeitler on the team, but obviously they have other plans. I mean, it's getting a little worrisome. I was talking about it when we were talking about the receivers. I was getting a little worried about this offensive line situation because, I mean, we gotta protect Lamar. I mean, we've seen what he can do in a clean pocket. He's dangerous. Like, no matter who's on the field when it comes to receivers, if Lamar gets time, he's dangerous. And I don't see any quarterback's dangerous when you give him time. I mean, that's not really exclusive to Lamar, but Lamar is really dangerous when you give him time, because then you kind of, give him time to process if he's going to throw or going to run. And he doesn't have to make these quick, decisions, all the time. He has to make those quick decisions, as a quarterback, because that's the job of the guy under center. But, when you give him time, think about like the Lions game, like they were just getting absolutely no pressure in the game. Lamar was just dotting them up all game, so it's
Yeah.
just like, it was a beautiful thing to see, to be honest, but I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to bring up a question after this. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, like, I'm not interested. I wanted to bring Zeitler back just because it'd have been nice to have at least three spots cleared. Like, it could have just been for 1 year or maybe 2 years or whatever. But I would have liked to bring Zeitler back just so that we can have a left guard there who's probably going to be a young guy in between an All Pro and a Pro Bowler. I don't know if Linderbaum was a All Pro this year. I don't think he was. Do you remember if he was or not, or was it Creed, or was it Jason?
It was Creed. I think Creed got over him, but he was definitely a Pro Bowler this year.
Yeah, so I mean, you have him in between there, him and then what's it called? Him and Stanley, and then if you have a right tackle over there, he's right next to Zeitler. So it'd have been like young guys mixed with veterans, and I would have preferred that over maybe three young guys. I mean, obviously the left guard is probably going to be in the best position because he's going to have a former All Pro and a Pro Bowler next to him. But the right guard, now you're talking about the whole right side of the line being young. Possibly. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that's what they're going to do, but it's what it looks like at the moment. So, we're kind of worried about that. But something I kind of want to bring up. I just thought about this just now. We always talk about, you give Lamar time to throw the ball, he's going to be effective. But honestly, with the speed that we have on our team, with Zay, with Lamar, Mitchell, Bateman has a little bit of speed to him. Marcus fast for a tight end. Isaiah Likely is really fast for a tight end. So with these guys' speed and elusiveness, should we implement more of a quick passing game instead of these long developing routes that, yeah, when you have a chance to block, they're going to work. But when there's a game like you play versus the Chiefs or even versus the Texans in the first half where they're blowing right through the offensive line, you're going to struggle. So should the Ravens, I mean, obviously you're going to have your intermediate and deep plays designed for big moments and just designed to get the ball down the field or whatever. But I mean, just think about how the Chiefs run their offense. They're not this 30, 40, 50 yards, team anymore, Think about Brady back in the day when he was dominating the league. He wasn't all 20, 30, 40 yards all the time. Sometimes it was five here, four, they'd run the ball or they do quick plays, quick slants, screens, whatever. Just try to get these guys open, you know? I know we said we don't really like the screens. They just don't run smart screens to me, you know? I just feel like their screens are dumb. You know, honestly, they don't feel like NFL level screens. They work
Elementary.
sometimes. Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
do the Ravens need to implement this kind of quick game, I guess, you know, and stop like waiting for things to happen and just have teams come to like fear, like, oh crap, like we gotta regroup here. They're moving fast, you know?
I definitely agree. I feel like, that would be a way to get guys like Likely and Andrews both open and able to eat. I feel like that would create a lot of, problems for our teams, having them
Yeah.
both maybe going a quick route throughout or a slant throughout the middle of the field. But
Hmm.
it also falls on Lamar. And in no way am I saying he's a one read quarterback, but yeah, even with these quick plays, he has a tendency to only look at one guy. And whether that's again like somebody like Zay is going off, he seems to only look in that guy's direction. So if we are going to implement these quick plays, I would want Lamar to also give other guys a chance as well. I mean, because we're gonna have a healthy Andrews, a healthy Likely, we'll have a healthy Zay, even though he was already healthy, but we're gonna have a healthy wide receiving core, all with the talent to run routes and get open. He's got to be able to spread the wealth, like how you were mentioning earlier. So I do want to see us implement these more quick routes, these quick plays, but Lamar also has to just process the field a little bit better. He processes very well, but just a little bit quicker, just a little bit quicker. And also process the pocket awareness. We've seen a couple of times where in a pocket, Lamar, he's got to sense those guys behind him. I remember Omenahu knocked the ball right out of his hand in the AFC Championship game. It was a fumble, right? And that maybe that was a long developing route on that play, but still he's got to sense that. He's got to process the field a little bit more quicker. So I want to see us, have these more quick plays like how Brady, did because he's dicing them down the field. It's taking up a lot of clock too, but got to process that field quicker to do it and not just rely on one guy. You know, Spread the wealth, just like how you said earlier. So I
And
agree. I want to see these plays.
just kind of think about how Kelsey's used. You know, Kelsey isn't this vertical threat all the time, you know? I mean, how many times you've seen Mahomes like, motion Kelsey over, they snap the ball, he's kind of on a flat almost, almost kind of like a mini screen, almost. And or he'll go a few yards and then just curl right back and he's right there open. Like we got to implement these for Mark. We got to implement these for what's his name? Likely, like if Lamar's gonna love his tight ends, then we gotta use these tight ends like how they use Kelsey, how they use Kittle, how they use whoever the other great tight ends in the league are. So, that's kind of my dream, for next season is, let's implement Mark, not just on all these 15-yard plays or whatever, like let's get him open real quick. Mark is pretty fast, Mark is pretty strong. Sometimes he can be soft, but I think that most of the time, usually a pretty tough guy. So um
Oh yeah.
we gotta use him like how they use Kelsey, to be honest.
And I will say, I'm just thinking about it now. When I think of the Chiefs, sometimes the Chiefs use especially when they had Tyreek, they use that to scare teams to think that, Tyreek maybe is running a deep route on the field. Sometimes I remember in the Browns game in particular, I think it was the divisional game. It was like a very crucial fourth down. Tyreek, all he did was just run like an out route to the side, got the first down. That simple route to get him open. So they kind of used his, speed to make the Browns think maybe he's, doing a longer big play route than like how he usually does. But in fact, he just ran a simple, route to the sideline, got the easy first down. So,
Yeah.
maybe if maybe if the Ravens use, these guys' strengths against the teams, but reverse, that'll also work out for them as well, in a way. So I agree with you. I really do think we should use these type of, passing plays. And it fits into our scheme as well as just a team that wants to pound the ball, run out the clock. If we're having drives where we get like 15 plays, 73 yards, it takes up like 6 minutes. That's perfect. So I agree.
Oh, my light shut off. I put my I turned them off by accident. But I guess we could talk about the other signings we made. Chris Ford, Arthur Mallette. I saw a lot of people were happy about the Arthur Mallette signing. I was pretty happy with it too, but he did kind of rub me the wrong way in the championship game. He's gonna go up to the Chiefs and kind of rattle them, and then give up the game-winning catch. So um,
Yeah.
I didn't really like that. I mean, give me your opinions about the signings of Chris Board and Arthur Mallette.
I definitely agree. He was all up in their face, and kind of got karma for it in the end, but I feel like he can only get better from a play like that.
Hmm.
Obviously he's gonna have to cover, some very fast receivers like MVS, that have that threat. And like I said, he can only get better. I mean, sometimes you just gotta be humble and let your play talk, more than your words do. And that was definitely a big blemish on his season with the Ravens last year. He definitely was very stout, very fast, very smart and cerebral in the field. I mean, I can recall, many times where he pressured, CJ Stroud in that divisional round game and made it hard for him. So he can only get better from that, and I'm glad that we brought him back. I would have
Yeah.
liked for us to get Darby back too, but having him is
Right.
definitely important as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And Chris Board, apparently he's like one of the top special teams players in the league now, or he's very good. So Ravens special teams, it hasn't been anything to, write home about, the past couple of years, which is kind of crazy considering Harbs is his roots are in special teams coaching. But that would be good, to add some, a spark to that side of the ball. So just a good pickup, maybe if needed, we can get him on the field. I think he's an inside linebacker. So maybe he can get some, reps out there, but I like him for special teams. I heard he's pretty good, dude.
Yeah, me
What are
too. I
your
like it
opinions
too.
about, Chris Ford?
I, I mean, I don't really have many, like you said, Harbaugh, loves his special teams guys, those gunners or whatever, they're gonna rock you, And I mean, I recall a lot of times this year where the Ravens special teams allowed a few punt yards, or they allowed the punt return in the division round, or
Yeah,
free yards, when it comes to kickoff returns. We just can't have that stuff. The Ravens have always been a team that they're going to hit you hard when it comes to kick return, punt returns. They're not going to give those up. And when they do, it's a genuine surprise, But it felt like if it happened last year, it was like our special team's been kind of garbage. So it's nice. It's only one guy, but I like the signing just because, I mean, we need to shore up that special teams next year because we can't have stuff. We can't like I think about like in a moment like this, like if we had wound up losing that Texans game, like let's say the Texans scored one more touchdown, we lost 17-10, like how we did in the championship game. We're all gonna look at that punt return and be like, that changed the momentum of the whole game.
yeah,
So thank God our defense shut them out the rest of the way.
yeah. I definitely agree. I can remember in that Bengals game. I think it was like week two. I
Yep.
think it was Trent Irwin. I think he got a couple, or it was somebody else. I think he got a couple. He
Really?
actually got a punt return. He actually
Yeah.
got a return in that
Yeah, he
game.
got
So
yeah, they almost caught it back, but then they didn't. That was like the Bengals' first
yeah,
touchdown of the year.
yeah, yeah. So it definitely is a great signing to help out the special teams because they do allow a lot of unnecessary yards. But
Oh, did we talk about Simpson?
oh
Did we talk
yeah,
about Simpson in
Simpson.
the past video? Or did we talk about him? I don't think we talked about him in this video, but yeah, he got
We don't even talk. Yeah, we didn't
we
talk
didn't
about him.
sign him, but he went to the Jets too, along with Moses.
Yeah, the Jets, the Baltimore Jets, the Baltimore Steelers, they like stealing our players.
Yep.
Um, but again, that just further, emphasizes that we need to, load up in the draft on a tackle, line. So,
Yep.
um, like I said, it won't be a sexy draft, but it'll be a draft for the trenches, just getting those right. And just filling out those positions that aren't really shown like on the stat sheet, but is shown in the tape on the film. So it's gonna be interesting to see what we do.
Hmm.
It's gonna be interesting to see if those guys can stay healthy too. Because I know Morgan Moses. I know a lot of people are making fun of the Jets O line, saying that they can't stay healthy. So it'll be interesting to see what they do over there. But that's how things are going in NFL, man.
Yep.
Lose guys, got to add them back. But I think that's all the signings. I think that's all the recent Ravens news that's been happening lately. Um, I just want to say this. I see a lot of people on Ravens Twitter saying, "Oh, we should bring back OBJ." OBJ is not coming back. I don't think Ravens fans should expect that. You you already know how I feel about OBJ. I'd be texting your phone like almost it seems like every day talking about how the Ravens didn't use OBJ, and I'm pulling stats back from 2014 and stuff. But safe to say he's not coming back. No, he's not. So I think that kind of dream, if he even is a dream, is dead. But I think that's all we have so far for Ravens. Any Ravens news? Is there anything else you wanted to add? No. Well, only thing we can hope for is that the Ravens continue to make some signings. I wouldn't mind just still adding some depth piece signings. We can only get better with that, have more options, especially going into preseason and training camp. But that's all we can hope for, and just have a great draft. It's crazy to believe the draft is next month. It's off season's really going by fast. So
Yep.
that's all we got for you guys in this video today. Make sure you follow and subscribe to our other channel. Follow our social medias, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our TikTok, and subscribe to our other channel, Casual Cinema. We got an Iron Man, flashback video, throwback video coming soon. It's a classic, so just stay tuned for that. And that's all we got for you guys today. For Birds of Prey Sports, we're out.
Right.